For most of modern history, a rising population was the primary engine of industrial progress. National economic power was measured by the sheer size of a workforce and the output of its assembly lines. This constant growth fed into a cycle of expansion. As millions of people moved into cities, they created the urban density and consumer demand that sustained nearly every sector of the economy. But the post-war baby booms that defined the 20th century are over. Today, many of the world's largest economies are no longer managing rapid expansion. They're confronting a steady decline in births. This shift from demographic growth to contraction is altering the basic mechanics of the modern economy. It forces nations to find new ways to maintain their wealth as the number of workers and consumers begins to shrink. Population stability relies on the replacement rate. To keep from shrinking, a country requires exactly 2.1 children per woman. Across the developed world, fertility rates have fallen well below this line, continuing a consistent downward trend for decades. The causes are largely economic. As housing and education costs rise, the financial burden of raising a large family has become a significant deterrent for many young adults. Sociological changes also play a role. Urban lifestyles and evolving career priorities frequently lead people to delay marriage and parenthood if they choose to have children at all. When these individual choices are repeated across millions of households, the result is a visible gap in the future labor force and a reduction in long-term economic activity. East Asia is currently the epicenter of this decline. South Korea now has some of the lowest fertility rates in the world, while China is seeing its population age rapidly, a trend accelerated by its former state-mandated one-child policy. In Japan, the effects of this decline are already visible in the landscape. Overgrowth and structural decay are becoming common in shrinking residential zones as the population moves or ages out. This has a direct impact on local infrastructure. As rural communities lose their younger residents, schools are forced to close, and businesses struggle to find enough workers to stay operational. These localized labor shortages act as a persistent drag on the broader economy, making it increasingly difficult for the nation to maintain its previous levels of growth. Europe is entering a similar phase. In countries like Italy and Germany, the social safety net is under increasing pressure as it attempts to support a large, aging populace with fewer active workers. This creates a problem with the dependency ratio. This is the financial balance between the working-age population paying taxes and the retired population drawing state benefits. As workers shrink, it becomes mathematically difficult to fund the healthcare and pension systems an elderly population requires. Without significant policy changes or a new influx of labor, the current model for state-sponsored retirement will face mounting deficits. North America has more of a buffer. The United States and Canada currently have younger demographic profiles than many countries in Europe or East Asia. While their domestic birth rates are also falling, these nations have used immigration to offset workforce shortages and maintain a larger pool of active taxpayers. However, relying on immigration to solve labor gaps often leads to significant political and social debates about national identity and long-term policy. Many governments have attempted to raise birth rates directly. They have tried offering cash incentives, tax breaks, and expanded childcare supports to make parenthood more affordable. So far, these programs have shown limited success. In most cases, birth rates have remained low despite significant state investment. This failure to increase the human population has forced a dramatic pivot toward advanced, automated technology as a primary solution. Japan and South Korea are now investing heavily in industrial automation. They are using advanced robotics to fill the physical labor void in factories that can no longer find enough workers. These systems are also moving into the home. Medical and support robots are being designed for elder care, assisting a generation that has fewer younger family members to rely on. While automation can maintain production, it cannot replace the economic role of people. Machines can build products, but they do not buy homes, pay for services, or drive consumer demand. Technological solutions can address specific labor gaps, but they do not solve the broader shift occurring in global society. The era of guaranteed, endless demographic growth appears to have ended. National economies are now entering a period where success will depend on how well they adapt to a future with fewer workers and a shrinking consumer base.